Yes, sir. Well, we're back with another One Piece review. This time we're on chapter 1170. Right now is midnight. I didn't think the chapter. I thought the chapter was going to drop like early on Friday. It didn't happen. Had some drinks. I'm home now, and and I got the chapter, so that was like a win-win. It's like 12:14 right now, but once I saw that chapter pop, I'm like, bro, I gotta read this. I read it, and let me tell you, bro. The first part of the weeks, bro, I was tripping out. I'm not gonna hold you, because I'm gonna get into chapter in a little bit, but I was scared because like I was seeing leaks that Loki, the dove food that he ate was like a squirrel fruit, and like he was gonna be like a half squirrel man, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. I was, I was distraught, man. Like seeing Loki get hyped up and wonder what Dev was gonna get. He's like this, has ancient giant blood, raw, powerful, like just a goat to be honest. Like bro, his whole character design and everything is raw. And then him getting like a goofy fruit of a squirrel. I was trying to backwards rationalize it. I'm not gonna hold you. I was trying to figure out how can Oda make this cool, man? How can Oda make this work? And luckily for me, I don't have to do that anymore because that was not the case. That was not the case one bit. Not at all. That's not the case one bit. So that worked out for me because man oh man, I was just trying to figure out how can Oda make like a squirrel fruit look dope with Loki. You know what I mean? But like I was like again like when I was trying to like backwards rationalize it being cool and it working because with like you just like Norse mythology and whatnot, and you just know there's like this squirrel in the legend too that like climbs throughout Yggdrasil and whatnot, or the World Tree. So there was some kind of like, oh, make it make sense. But like, I just did not want them into like a squirrel fruit, bro. That would have been so lame. I'm not gonna hold you. That would have been like kind of lame. Like, yeah, Oda can make like lame fruits look kind of cool, but I did not want that for Loki, bro. I want Loki to have like a raw fruit. But now let's get into the chapter because I read long enough about like my thoughts about that. We get into the chapter, and let me just double check because I literally just read the chapter, right? So it's like fresh in my mind. Okay, yeah. So we get into the chapter. Is Loki finally gets the hammer trying to figure out what's going on. Like the hammer's like guarding the devil fruit. So like the hammer has like some sentience. You're like, ooh, what's going on here? Why is this hammer has sentience? We don't know. We gotta okay, it's Max. We gotta figure that out. So we move on forward. And then we also see like how heavy the hammer too. Like the hammer's like super heavy also. Like the hammer like drops down to the ground and like crushes everything too. So like not only does the hammer have sentience, but it's very heavy too. So it's just like, leaning into some Norse mythology, like with Thor's hammer being like kind of worthy. They got to be worthy to hold the hammer because the hammer was like very, well, that's kind of like Marvel s lore. Like the hammer was just like very heavy and only Thor could pick it up. So with this, I think it's kind of like going the same route. Like this hammer's like very heavy and like if you're very strong to pick it up, but the hammer chooses the person who's worthy for the devil fruit. So like that was like the give or take right there. Whether science like how the Marvel lore with Thor and Thor's hammer being like you have to be worthy to like lift up Thor's hammer. The hammer chooses who's worthy to eat the devil fruit. So kind of cool stuff like that. And then we come back to like Harold. We see Harold fighting Shanks and Gaiban. We get some like new lore with Gaiban and whatnot. How the rocks pot because like Gaiban like he was telling like how to like fight a holy knight saying like, you got to use like your focus. What did they say? It's something about conqueror's hockey coding. So just hockey maxing as the story is nowadays. So Gaiban's like, oh yeah, we got to use like you got to cover your stuff in conqueror's hockey's like damage holy knights. Jake's like, how you know all this? Then we get some new lore figuring out that the Holy Knights have been like hunting down Shanks to like to get him back to the Mary Jo and whatnot. So they've been like attacking Roger pirates and whatnot, trying to get Shanks back because that Shanks is Garling's son. But the Rock's pirates obviously kept beating them off. They try to attack, they beat them off, and they just get BTFO. You know what I mean? And then he mentioned like how it was like mainly Summers too, and like he always be Summers and whatnot. So that was kind of funny. So now it's just more icing on the cake how like the Holy Knights really aren't all that, to be honest, bro. Like those guys are kind of lame. Like they're really hyped up, but like all they really got going for them is just their immortality. Like that's really it. Besides your immortality, bro, you're kind of washed up because looking through everything, like all of our stuff with the Holy Knights come to God's Valley, take out a weakened, half dead Rock. So like that was your win, but like when Rox was fighting you guys, y'all were half dead, struggling, practically dead and whatnot, struggling to regenerate. And then you kill Rox when he's half dead. And then we also figured out too that when trying to get Shanks back when he was a younger kid and whatnot, y'all couldn't even deal with the Roger Pirates. Y'all were struck with them and always got like tapped out and had to run away. So like the Holy Knights are low-key frauds as well. So I'm like kind of like while reading One Piece, you're learning that some people who are like kind of hyped up are low-key kind of frauds. Like the Holy Knights really are just frauds, and like that's the same word because you would think those guys would be kind of hyped up, but no, they just have like immortality hacks. But besides that, bro, you're not really all that. And like everyone's saying like a lot. And when you think about it, even like the five elders, those guys too, they were kind of strong. They were decent in their fight with Luffy and whatnot. You see the Giants fight against them. There's some back and forth, and the only way to beat them was with Joy Boys. Yeah, they had to use Joy Boys Conquer Saki to like kick him out. So the five elders, they're on thin ice, but we'll have to wait and see if they're like really about that action or not. Because all we really saw was just them going back and forth with a Gear 5 Luffy and like two top tier giants. You know what I mean? So that's that. That rant aside, we get further in the chapter. Yeah, I talked about all that. Dang. Okay, so then this is when the leaks I thought were fake. So all that stuff aside, Gaiabon talks about how you got to use Conquer Saki to fight immortality people to slow down the healing and whatnot. Talk about Summers. Then we cut to Loki fighting against the hammer. He goes like heavy attack against the hammer. His hammer breaks, but that then hurts the hammer. It turns out the hammer is a squirrel. So I got to be calmed down just a little bit because now we know like Loki did not eat some squirrel fruit, so that was good. I think I'm pretty sure like a hammer ate the squirrel fruit. That's what had to happen. Because I don't think like a squirrel ate the hammer fruit. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a hammer ate the squirrel fruit. Because you know how we got Shamrock, his sword ate the Cerberus fruit. Then we go way back to Ennis Lobby and Bum with the Buster Car. I forgot his name, but you know the guy with the mask. His sword ate the elephant fruit. So this hammer ate the scroll fruit. It probably has like a unique name that has something to do with Norse mythology and whatnot. But anyway, Loki hits the hammer, and his hammer breaks, but hammer thing is like bumping his head. So like he kind of won that clash. Second, like he damaged the hammer. It turns out to be a squirrel. I think after that clash, like he won the worthiness of the hammer. So that was kind of cool. So at that point, Loki then does eat the devil fruit. And then like the next panel is kind of dope. Because he then like speed blitzes across the castle and like attacks Harold, which was kind of fresh. That was really fresh. I really liked that thoroughly. Like him, like speed blitz. I mean, like it is speed blitz. He dashed throughout the castle, like attacks Harold and whatnot. Like Harold perceives him coming, like he was just too fast for him. And like see a shadow like the devil fruit could be. It's a weird. Let me look at the shadow. I have no idea what this is. It's like some type of monster. This might be the hybrid form though. So stocks are still on the 50-50 that it could be like I forgot what the World Serpent's name is, but like the World Serpent has like some like I think it's Yodamir. I don't know, but it could be he ate the World Serpent fruit. If that is the case, that would be really dope. That's what I'm hoping for. But we'll have to wait and see like what devil fruit he ate. But the point is, he ate the devil fruit. He like pieced apart a little bit, like he gave him some damage, like he messed up his whole arm and whatnot. And then like Harold gained some consciousness back, like he's had some control of himself. And at that point, Harold and Loki are talking. And then what is? Okay, so there was something important. You were being controlled. So Loki was like, you were being controlled, right? And then Harold was like, not quite. It's more like that thing is influenced my thoughts. I started to consider myself a god. So I think that was a shame. Hero was talking about like it was probably amplifying his thoughts a little bit and skewing him to a bit where he felt like he was a god, and that's why he felt like some guilt while doing it. Because like, oh dang, I have all this power, I feel like a god and whatnot. Because if you remember a couple chapters back, he was something like this power starts doing like it feels intoxicating and whatnot, or it feels good. So I think that was probably like another reason why Hero felt guilty as well. Like not only did he like feel his people, being taken over by like this evil shadow figure, but at the same time he kind of got drunk on this power, like kind of like that power take over him in a son of a way. Like yes, Hero was controlled, but like in some parts, he was kind of intoxicated by the power and felt like a god. And then what is this? Oh yeah, then Hero was giving like Loki his flowers too right here. Yeah. Saying like how he should lead Elbaf. Then Loki has having an emotional moment too, saying how like he's upset that his own father had like have his son take his life. Like bro, like why are you having your own son do this? Like you should be ashamed of being a father and whatnot. Oh, and then this was the best part right here. So this part right here was on where Hero was talking about how like Ida didn't. Well, let me see the words exactly. One last thing I almost forgot. I want to thank you about Ida. I was touched by burn down the alcohol village didn't make her better, but I was touched by how much you loved her. So again, it sort of turns back to like people understanding, like people close to Loki, like Ida, Harold, and even I think the King of the Mermaids too. Like people know like Loki's outbursts are covered in him actually caring for you, which I really appreciate. So Harold realizing also like, hey yo, I know you burned down this village because of how much you care for Ida, and I really appreciate that. So that right there, that I'm glad they have that understanding of Harold knowing how much Loki cares for people, and like him being like this lone wolf, edgy dude is kind of like a facade for like him actually really caring for the people around him and whatnot. Him caring for Ida, even his father too, and like they even case in point, where it's Loki's like, I'll never forgive you for making me do all the dirty work here. And then Harold's like, I love you too. So like again, like Loki couldn't say the words, but like Harold knows like what he's trying to convey and say. So that was a very sweet moment right there. And like we in like this cool full panel, like Loki hitting him with the hammer. The hammer being the scroll hammer, because this hammer broke in the fight with the hammer. I said hammer a lot there, I realized. And then like it ends with Loki, my dear son. The only thing that really matters is securing Elbaf's future. So yeah, this whole chapter made me feel a bit more calm because Luffy is not a giant squirrel. Luffy probably has a really dope devil fruit. I'm saying Luffy. Loki has a really cool devil fruit. Didn't eat no squirrel fruit. We know that Harold knows that Loki does care for people, and like everything he does is kind of facade, and like him, interpreting that form, like seeing the quiet part aloud saying, "I love you too," that kind of hit me right there. Like that hit me, and then him like acknowledging like what he did for the burn down, I think it was called Alcohol Village too for Ida. Like everything here is just like Harold saying, "Listen, I see you, son, and I love you too. I love everything you're doing. You are a kind person." That hit for me. That was just a very clean way of doing a good send off for Harold. But yeah, overall, good chapter. Like good chapter. It kind of sucks that it came out like at midnight, but it is what it is. We make videos regardless. But yeah, is that all my thoughts? Situation. I already talk about how like the Holy Knights are frauds too, because those guys are very fraudulent at this point. Like all their fights, no wins whatsoever. Lost against the Roger Pirates multiple times apparently. They got pissed by Rocks, took out Rocks when he was like practically dead by getting beat up on by Roger and Garp. And then presently, Gaiabon was putting real belt ass to the Holy Knights, and only lost against the Holy Knights because they killed his kid they held his child captive. So yeah, the Holy Knights are just very much frauds, bro. Like again, all they got is their immortality hacks, but besides that, bro, they're easy pickings. But yeah, besides that, good chapter for sure. Was there a break? I don't think there was a break. Let me double check. If there was a break, I don't think this was worth a break for sure. This could be like a back-to-back thing. Let's double check real quick. Yeah, there was no break. It was just back-to-back. Okay, yeah. Yeah, very much enjoyed this chapter for sure. It was very solid. But I really just can't wait to see what Loki Double Shoot is, because right now Loki, He's looking pretty like high tier of the verse because we're just like looking at his stats. He's a giant with what's he face? With the old Giants blood inside of him. He has Conqueror's hockey. He has like this crazy double fruit that we don't know about. Then on top of that, he has like this sentient hammer fused with the squirrel, which is, you know, pretty powerful. That was like guarding Elbat for years and whatnot. Or guarding double fruit for years. And then at the same time, like he fought against Shanks as well, I believe, if I remember that correctly. I could be misremembering. I'm pretty sure Shanks and Loki did fight. Regardless, Loki's looking pretty good. We'll see how he turns out in the next chapter. But that's it for the video. If y'all enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And until next time, I'll catch you later. All right, be easy.